What does an agronomist do at Massey? I don't know anyone else who has an agronomist on staff.
An agronomist is a soil and plant scientist, so I do research on materials to get the best results with the least amount of input. Sometimes people don't understand plant care, and that's where I come in. I'm between academia and a homeowner. I want to communicate these systems so that they can enjoy the benefits of a beautiful landscape.
Hey everyone, Jack Jostes here, and today I'm with Dr. Brown, the agronomist from Massey Services in Orlando, Florida, here to talk about the 5 keys to growing a healthy landscape. Dr. Brown, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit, what is agronomy and what do? You have a PhD in agronomy, or?
That's correct. An agronomist is a soil and plant scientist. Plants just don't grow on their own, they're in a system. And our terrestrial plants and landscapes have roots in the soil. So we look at different aspects of these systems. What we need to focus on are 5 key principles. Mother Nature does the heavy lifting, but we need to understand that the plants that we have in the landscape need to be in the right place. So the right plant for the right place is the first key principle. Got to get that right. Our second key principle is creating and maintaining healthy soils. This can be accomplished by understanding the soil chemistry, pH of the soil, because plants are adapted to different soil pHs, can be modified to some degree, and also including organic matter such as compost can greatly benefit the health of a soil and in turn healthier plants. The third key principle is water management. So sometimes we need to add water for plant health, and that needs to be understood, timing and amount. Too much water is not a good thing. Key principle number 4 is cultural practices, such as mowing and core aerification. Anything we do to a landscape to help enhance plant vigor are called cultural practices, and we need to get those right. We need to understand what they are for each plant type, such as turf or tree shrubs. And the 5th key principle is integrated pest management. So we have materials that can enhance plant growth. Some of those are used to stop pests. So we use those when we need to. If we have the first 4 key principles in alignment, we have less of an impact on the environment because we use less pest control.
So talk to me, what does an agronomist do at Massey? I don't know anyone else who has an agronomist on staff. So how many people work at Massey? What services does the company offer? Tell me a little more about that.
We have around 3,000 employees. We have different divisions. Our Green Up division is our landscape division. An agronomist, such as myself, does a lot of teaching and training. We want to get team members in and then train them on how to take care of plants or whatever division they're in. We also have pest prevention and termite protection. But an agronomist is a soil and plant scientist, so I do research on materials to get the best results with the least amount of input. So nutritionally, there are decisions we can make to get great responses with less fertilizer. Same thing with preventing pests. If we have a good agronomic program, the landscape looks good with seeming to be little input, but it's managed correctly.
So you're involved in training. What other kind of operational decisions do you advise on? Because I would think when it comes to selecting materials or selecting fertilizers, or if you have lawn care technicians, if you have different people who are actually out in the field, there's training, but then how are you involved in some of those other operational decisions?
I do a lot of material testing. I have a research facility that I go out and test materials of all types to see what their results are, to see what rates should be used and timing. It's a complex combination of things because things can be done differently, but what we want to do is focus on the least amount of input with the best results for plants. So my mind works on systems to make sure that the plant's growing, not too much. It's not about, we're not making hay. We just want to have a nice, healthy plant that's strong and resists insects and disease. So we want to do that in a way. There are a lot of materials that we can choose from. They have to be tested. Anything that's in our program has been tested by our team in our research facility, and then we'll test it again in a field setting, and then we'll evolve that to possibly a service center or routes, and then if it's even good, we can move it to the entire company.
How old were you when you realized you wanted to be an agronomist?
I was 28.
What did you do as a kid? I'm curious, like, what kind of things did you enjoy doing as a kid that are relevant to what you do now?
When I was a kid, I used to work in the yard. I liked it. That's where I wanted to be, and I would go out and dig up plants and put them in pots and transplant plants and plant seeds, and I had a garden. I liked to garden when I was a kid. I still do it today. I'm still a gardener. I still have a garden, and I love it. It's just what I like to do. I like to grow plants. I like to understand them. They're very diverse and wonderful, and sometimes people don't understand plant care, and that's where I come in. I'm between academia and a homeowner. I want to communicate these systems so that they can enjoy the benefits of a beautiful landscape. And Massey Services can help. We can come out and inspect to find out what's needed and then do those things that are needed. So it depends on the plant palette and soils and location, but those things need to be communicated. Oftentimes homeowners will do things that are not benefiting the plants, such as scalping or bad cultural practices, over or under watering, and my company can help consult to get those in the right value ranges.
So do you work with other landscape companies or just Massey?
Well, I work for Massey Services, but I consider myself a servant of the industry. I want to help everybody, and I use university research to promote our green industry because I think it's the right thing to do. When we all do things better, we all benefit.
That's great. So if we want to follow you online, do you have a blog? Do you post content? Where else can we keep learning from you?
Massey Services has a blog. I consult with our marketing team on that material. We work together on that.
Cool. Well, so for folks listening who want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out?
I would recommend going to Massey's website and inquiring through that channel. I have an open door policy. I'm okay with emails and cell phone calls and everything else, but that'd be the best way would be to go to Massey Services website.
Cool. Well, we'll put a link to that in the show notes so people connect with you. And Dr. Brown, thanks for coming on the Landscaper's Guide.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, I just had a blast talking to Dr. Brown. I've never met with an agronomist on the show. One of the coolest things about the industry is all the different people involved in it. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. If you did, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for continued sales, marketing, and leadership inspiration to grow your snow and landscape company. My name is Jack Jostes, and I'll see you in the next video.